The following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Heiar Insurance, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Taking Care of Business. Of course, it's a Friday. That means Senior Solutions. Oh, Jeff, go ahead and let it play a little, Jeff. You gotta love it. Jeff up in the studio rocking it out for us. Thank you, Jeff. This is exactly what we talk about, Matt. We bring you on. Senior Solutions is really about, as the name implies, it's for the most part senior solutions, retirement, Medicare, life insurance planning, all of that. These are all things that kind of come in, and they tend to really be focused on seniors. But of course, you don't have to wait that long to start planning.
Absolutely not.
Because we've all sang that song before. I don't want to work. Just want to bang on the drums all day. Maybe drums is not your thing. Maybe you just want to whack golf balls all day. Huh? Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you love to paint and you just want to do brush strokes all day. Whatever it may be, we've all got our things. We've all got our stuff. But to get there, you got to have a plan.
Absolutely. And that's why I feel like our job at Heiar Insurance is we teach people how to retire. Because everyone comes in and they say the same things. This is a silly question, or I don't know anything about this. And of course, why should you?
Right.
And they're like, you're very relaxed with this. And it's like, well, yeah, this is what we do, and that's why we educate you on, how to do it, but we can only start from the top. We have to take step one.
Right.
So we start talking about, are we going to lose our insurance? Do we have an income plan? And what is our liabilities? What is our bills? What do we need to just keep going, to make things afloat? Because that's the biggest fear once we get over the psychological matter of what am I going to do when I retire? It's, can I retire? Do I have to get a part-time job? Right. Once we start putting that all on paper and just taking it step by step. So that's why we always talk about the initial consultation, which is complimentary, but we don't do anything. Right. Just kind of, start talking about game planning, express your concerns, and we address them. But it is way too much to go over everything. So we just kind of, bits and pieces of each thing and just kind of simplify it. And that's what we want, leave the worrying and the anxiety to us, let us worry about that. And that's why having a local advocate is the best part of this, because you're calling us. You have my cell phone number, so if you have questions, because we're on retainer, right? So we're there 24/7 if you need us, and that's what is just so fulfilling. They're like, well, if I see you at the cornrows and you ask me questions, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk shop, and it's like, no, if you have a question, and we're not at the office, and you see me, absolutely, Right. Just express your concerns, and we'll see if we can handle it now, or we have to set an appointment for it.
And you never know when a question's going to come up, because you might be just going about your everyday thing, and then suddenly you go, "Oh, I wonder how this is going to affect my retirement."
Mm-hmm.
Now you could write it down, try to remember to bring that with you the next time you have a scheduled meeting to get together and chat about whatever, or you pick up the phone and you dial 920-887-0580. Superstar Joe's standing by right now.
Absolutely.
Give a call and, just say, hey, I just got a quick question about this. And it may seem like something really small and, inane to you, but, it could be a question that a lot of people have had, and now you've got an answer.
Well, and transparency, that's huge. I would much rather you call than just like, well, I tried to do this, because those calls are much more difficult.
Right.
They might be a little bit more work, but, nothing is, we can't solve, I've never really had a problem where it's like, oh, sorry, this is just the way it is. There's always a way to work around something, so that's why, but you have to call.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, I forgot to ask this question. Of course, when we're on the spot and I'm like, do you have any questions, moving forward? And they're like, no. And then you remember them in the parking lot.
Right.
And then just give a call back. I don't care if it's 10 minutes later, we'll try to address it. If I'm at an appointment, obviously they'll take a message and then I'll give you a call back.
If it's anything like me and my wife, we'll go do things, maybe it's we went shopping for furniture, maybe it's we went to a doctor's appointment, whatever. We'll get in the car, we'll be on the way home, my wife will go, I really should have had you ask every time.
Yes, I actually get that a lot, when I bring the kids to the appointment. They're like, did you ask this? Did you ask this? I was like, why didn't you go?
Right. And why didn't you, you could have texted me and said, ask these, whatever. But now, it's just, oh, you know what, babe, hold on. There you go. Ask him. It's that easy. And you're not going to be like, oh, you again. like you enjoy what you do.
No, absolutely. And it's just rewarding, you know, knowing that like, you know, people trust you, you know, and just being your local advocate for retirement is just a great feeling. And speaking of retirement, we have our busy season coming up.
Yeah, yeah. October 15th is when it officially kicks off, right?
Yes.
So you can start doing things through December 7th.
Nice. Absolutely.
I made notes. I that's the one note I didn't erase from last week because I wanted to make sure I had it. It is a busy season coming up for you guys. People should start seeing stuff showing up in the mail here pretty soon.
Yes, absolutely. Excuse me. You're going to get your book of changes, you know, so it's going to say, hey, this is what it was in 25. This is what it's going to be in 26. And it's very clear cut. You know, it just like has it like charted. Like, so this is your copay. This is your new copay. If you see nothing, you know, like no big changes, it's not necessary to switch.
Right.
You know, and that's even though everyone's telling you switch, you're missing out, changes in Medicare. The one big change, I was Googling a little bit, and it looks like some companies have already announced that they're not going to continue some of their Advantage plans.
Oh.
Yes.
So that thing we talked about where you might be told there's no coverage for you could happen.
Yes, so that's very, very scary, and we have to make sure you look at your book of changes. You know, like we can lead you to water, right? We can lead a horse to water, but you have to look at this because we're so used to be like, hey, if I do nothing, just like the last 5 years, it just rolls over, you know, and I'm not too concerned about the changes, and some people aren't, and that's fine. But if you get a letter that says you are not going to have a plan, we need you have to switch to something else, which obviously they'll probably do it within their company. They want you to.
Right.
But this is your time because if you get a cancellation, that is not a voluntarily, you're not voluntarily leaving. So you have the options to go to a bunch of different plans.
Right.
So this is your time. They will give you a special window since it is ending December 31st. We will be able to have a little bit more time, a couple more weeks to sign you up. So to give you a little bit more time where we can show you some literature and basically you can make a decision and have a few more weeks than just everyone else signing up. Right. So big deal. If you get a cancellation letter, that is what we have to look at. And that's group insurance, that's Medicare Advantage, that's prescription drug, because we did have a prescription drug plan last year that canceled. They said, no more plan.
Right.
You have to get something else. And we're so used to just letting it roll over. Well, there was people that I was seeing in January and February.
Right.
They're like, I went to the pharmacy and they said I
got nothing.
This card does not work.
Doesn't exist anymore.
And that is very scary. So this is a big review time. And I can't stress review enough because all the marketing schemes that are going to be coming out there, they're nasty. I mean, I hate to say it. Like I just saw one, someone brought it in and this was an older couple in their like mid 80s, and they were filling out this card to send back because it said Social Security death benefit update. Yes, and you know that seems official and stuff, and on the back of the card it says it was some insurance company and you will be contacted by a license. But like that's terrible because I forgot what the widowed spouses get, like I don't know, maybe $200 or $175 for a death benefit from Social Security. Wow.
Right.
That hasn't adjusted it with inflation, but that is very startling that was talking about Social Security death benefit, and that was for insurance.
Right.
So, and they're looking more and more official, and it's like, with me seeing that, it just gave me a bad taste, like, oh gosh, here it comes.
Right.
And review is the main thing. We want to review. We don't have to switch because it's kind of one of those, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And even though the commercials and the letters and the emails and the phone calls are not going to say that. Because they were telling me that Medicare keeps calling them.
Right.
And they need to get Medicare Part C. And it's like, you have Medicare Part C. You know, so that's where it's, you know.
And Medicare wouldn't keep calling you, right?
It's not Medicare.
Right.
But the fact that they're saying they're Medicare, big no-no.
Right.
You cannot do that. You can't represent Medicare. That's why those disclaimers have to say we are not part of the federal government, Medicare, or Social Security in fine print, once again.
Right.
Just like your story last week.
Right. And they can say things like, I'm a Medicare affiliate or whatever, which is just a fancy way of saying salesperson for them.
Yes, or your life insurance. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yes, no health questions.
Yeah, no health questions whatsoever, you know, as long as you assume you're a 40-year-old perfectly healthy male.
But didn't the disclaimer say some health
Yeah,
questions.
some health questions may apply. Yeah. Which I actually spoke with somebody who is going to law school, a younger family member of mine, and they were laughing about how they had just studied a case with a major insurance type company that did things like Medicare and healthcare stuff. And they kind of had this policy of we can pretty much say whatever we want to say because there's always a disclaimer somewhere.
Yep.
Like we can put on the very front cover of a pamphlet we send you all these promises, but then as long as on that same booklet on the back cover it says, not all promises are guaranteed, worst we might have is a misleading, thing brought against us, in which case we pay a little bit of a fine. But how much money did we make by misleading people leading into it?
Absolutely, and that's why a lot of these major carriers and stuff, obviously they're on boards and with Medicare and stuff. I mean, they're writing the rules.
Right.
So they know the loopholes.
Exactly.
And because of half of those not disclaimers, but those like correspondence you're getting from them and stuff, if I started promoting that on the radio, like I'm sure our insurance commissioner would give me a call.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you want to go somewhere local because you will use this insurance. You don't, if you're happy with it and you don't see a lot of changes, why switch? But what they're going to tell you this year is how there's changes in Medicare and everything is new and you're missing out and you're on an old plan and you're not. They're all 1-year contracts.
Right.
They have to submit them to Medicare in July for approval for the October. So there's no changes.
And that's kind of the ploy, isn't it? Like, okay, if it's 1-year contracts, well, then of course the contracts are new contracts. So sure, everything's new.
I know, but they're saying like new benefits, and it's really, we got to remember we're picking health insurance, not something for over-the-counter items. Because I've had people come in, they're like, my neighbor gets a card and they put $25 a month on it and they can use it for groceries. It's like, yes, I mean, there is stuff like that out there, but what is the insurance benefits? Can you see your doctor with that?
Right.
And that's where it was frustrating. I just had talked to someone this morning and they were kind of frustrated with the dental on this. And that was a side of it. Like, yes, it does have dental, but limits apply. Limits apply with all of that, and it's contractual language. So it wasn't what they expected. But then we kind of talked to them about like in-network, out-of-network, you're not getting as much bang for your buck if you go to an out-of-network dentist. And they understood it a little bit more. And I was like, what about the health insurance? Do you like that aspect of it? And they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I love the customer service. So we got to get back to that and kind of steer you in the right direction. Like some of those benefits and perks, yeah, absolutely. If they're there, if it has a gym membership, use it. You don't have to feel guilty not using it because it just comes with it.
Right.
But that's not why we pick a plan. So that's why I'm just saying buyer beware. Let's take a step back. I have so many clients every year. They bring me, hey, look at this one. Look at this one. And I actually look forward to it every year. It's like, bring them in. Let's see what they're doing now. And then, because I like to see, the tricks of the trades. And because I'll get a call the next day from someone else, be like, I got something about a Social Security death benefit. I'm like, don't do it. Do not fill that card out. Because once you put your information in, they have you.
Right.
And they will call you. And it's robocalls. So they're just going to keep calling you until someone answers, and then they're going to talk to you. We do not give out our Medicare number.
Yeah.
That is your Social Security number for your health. Like, that is huge. And that's why these plans are $0 a month. So all they need is that Medicare number. And they got it. And whether it's a scam, whether it's actual licensed sales agents, that's fine. But you're calling some telemarketer that's licensed in all 50 states, and they will sell you whatever. That's why they want your zip code. They want to know what plans they can even show you, because these are county specific, these plans. So we want to make sure that we're not giving this information out. If you do contact someone, they're giving you good advice and stuff, that's fine. But just say, send me literature, give me your name, your number, and I will call you back once I evaluate this. Because obviously if they're calling, they want something. Yeah. They're not doing it for fun.
Right. I mean, and at that point, they've obviously got your information. And I personally know how a lot of these call centers work. I've seen them how they're set up, where they might have 15 numbers that are all be dialed at once. The first one to pick up it tells them on their computer screen, okay, I'm talking with Matt Heiar. He lives in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Here's his information that we have from something you probably filled out and sent in or filled out online. So they have all the information they need to talk to you kind of like they know you.
Yes, and that's where it's just really frustrating. That's why we will not send you a mailer. We can't call you to evaluate your drug plan. You have to call us. There is a lot of people, and we want to make sure that we get to you, but you got to take the first step. You know, if you see something, you get that letter, you get a book of changes that, you know, some plan blew up and it's $50 a month instead of 10. Yes, that you probably should switch. You know, but that makes sense.
Right.
You know, let's look at that aspect. Or you really like this pharmacy, but next year that pharmacy is not part of the network. Yes, that is the reason why we switch. Not because this plan got a gym membership and your plan doesn't. You know, but we can talk about it. But it's the same time, I want to make sure that, you know, we're fulfilling your actual health insurance needs first.
Right.
And that's why when they start talking, and I'm just scared because the commercial's already going to start, and we have to just buyer beware. You know, call whoever your local insurance agent is. You know, say, hey, this is what I'm on. I'm hearing a lot of stuff and I feel so good when people do that. I'm like, great. They took my advice. They listened to me and they said, hey, just make sure I call at this time of year. And I'm like, are you happy with it? Yeah. Okay. Well, nothing really changed. So you're good to go. Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. And that gives you peace of mind moving forward. And then you can kind of mute those commercials.
Right. Right. Find something else to do during that
Yes.
30 seconds. Do want to remind people, if you do have a question that you'd like to ask Matt Heiar, you can definitely give us a call here on the show. You can call us at 920-885-4446. You can also call or text us at 920-887-9595. And again, we've got Jeff generally up in the studio waiting to take those calls and answer those texts and send them our way. So feel free to call or text if you have a question. I want to ask you about the Book of Changes. So when that book comes in, it's going to tell you all the changes to the plan, not necessarily the changes that are just specific to what you use, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
So you get the Book of Changes in the mail.
Yep.
And it's going to tell you, like, okay, here's the changes to your copays. Here's the changes to what we cover and don't cover. And that's for everything on that plan itself.
Correct.
So it's not going to be necessarily stuff that's specific to you. So there could be changes you see that don't affect you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I was just appalled. Now, this is AI telling me this when I was Googling before, but it said that like 2 major companies are eliminating a lot of plans. Like one company is eliminating 90 Medicare Advantage plans across 34 states. And then another major carrier is dropping a certain plan, which we don't know. It's not telling us, but they said it could affect about 600,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
That is 600,000 people. So the estimate is about 1.4 million that their plans are done. They're going to get that letter.
Right.
Where it's like, you don't have coverage. So it's scary because there's 1.4 million people that have to do something this year. And the scariest part about it is the people that are, you know, in their 80s, you know, the trustworthy people, those are the people that sign up with a plan that they shouldn't have.
Right.
Because they trusted them. They told me that it was this. They told me I could see my doctor. And it's very, very frustrating. That's why the government came out with an open enrollment period. That's January 1st to March 31st. That's where you can switch Advantage Plan to Advantage Plan. Where I was told you go to your doctor, and then you go use it. You can't use it. You know, and that's where at least we can do that. So if you came in January, said, I went to my doctor, and they said they don't take this plan, but the guy told me on the phone that I could, I can switch you from January. If we do it in January, it would start February 1st. If we do it in February, it'd start March 1st. So we do have a window from Advantage Plan to Advantage Plan to do that. But if you get the cancellation letter, you have to switch to something, or else you will just have regular traditional Medicare, 80% coverage, no drug plan, and that's scary.
Yeah. Especially when you consider, you know, we talk about the $1 million cancer years and things of that sort. If I still got to cover 20% of $1 million, that's a lot of money.
It's $200,000.
Yeah. And for most of us, that's, you know, mortgage out on your house again, or who knows what else to make that happen, you know, to get that to work. Not fun when you have to make those kind of decisions.
Well, and it starts with you. I mean, you're getting the correspondence, you're getting the mail. We got to drown out the actual ads and all the, but, you know, because even when I go to the mailbox, I'm getting stuff for Medicare. I think it's because someone sold my data because I look up Medicare stuff all the time, and I'm on the government website a lot. So who knows? But it's almost depressing when you go to the mailbox. It's just a bunch of junk,
Right.
you know. And
It used to be fun getting the mail.
yes, like getting invited to a birthday party.
Exactly.
Not anymore. It's bills and junk mail.
Ugh.
So, but that's why we just got to be vigilant. We're not giving out our Medicare numbers. I can't stress that enough. We're reviewing. We're not switching, but maybe we have to. And once again, I just will not find out. So if anybody got their book of changes on anything, let me know, because that would be greatly appreciated. Because it's the anticipation and the anxiety of what it's going to be. You know, is it going to be a smooth year?
Right.
With what I was just Googling before, I'm a little nervous that there's a lot of plans that will be canceled. So we have to see, and they're from pretty prominent providers, which is a little scary. But we just have to take it one day at a time. This is your time. And it's not like they're giving you a week, you know, like make your decision. Like at work, they're giving us 7 weeks and then maybe an additional 3 weeks for other people that actually losing their coverage.
There you go.
I know.
I hate when there's, deadlines and things imposed on stuff that's this important, because then when people miss those deadlines, it's like, how many times can we say those dates? How many times can we give that information? Every time we say things like, don't give out your Medicare number, and then you hear a story about somebody later who says, oh yeah, I listen to your stuff all the time. I accidentally gave out my Medicare number. Do
Yes.
you not listen when we say that? Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
the one thing you ignore?
And the scariest day of the year is December 8th,
Oh, I imagine.
because it's like, was everything done? Did every person call? And it's kind of calm, a little bit. So you're just a little nervous. Like, did everything go right? But it's not calm at the office, because there's another enrollment period. That's the marketplace insurance, the Affordable
Right.
Care Act. Your enrollment period is November 1st to December 15th. That is people under 65. So that is the time. That is when we get to first initially see what 2026 looks like.
Right.
We are not going to get as much of a tax credit this year. I believe the COVID tax credit is going away. So the stimulus money, they're saying roughly 15 to 20% less of a tax credit. So that will be a little bit of a shocker. But we're just going to pick the best plan for you. That one's pretty easy when it comes to picking plans. Like this year, there's 67 Affordable Care Act marketplace plans. Well, a lot of them are rendered useless if you can't go to your doctor.
Right.
So those are HMOs, and it's like, if you go to this HMO, we probably should sign you up with that plan.
Right.
And so it's pretty cut and dry. We can really narrow it down. The best is, we do a lot of them. Just they'll give us a call. Hey, are you happy with it? You don't have to switch either.
Right.
But this is your time to review. So that's a little startling, because if January 1st you want to do it, it's too late. You're sticking with that plan. The only thing we can do moving forward with that would be adjusting your income up or down.
Yeah, the only time these dates and things change is if you have the qualifying life change,
Life event.
right.
Yes.
Just retired, just lost a job, just whatever.
Death,
And then you
divorce,
get
moving.
some little bit of window wiggle room there. But for the vast majority of people who are already on this and continuing on this, there generally isn't a qualifying life event.
Right, and that's how it is for these advantage plans, drug plans, the Affordable Care Act. You say you didn't review it. You're like, you call me. You're like, I forgot. I was busy, or this happened. That's fine. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
It's 1 year. So it is what it is. We'll see what's best for you, and if you can't go to your doctor for some reason, then we're gonna find a place where you can go. We'll look it up. But yeah, this is just a time to. People get so much anxiety,
Right.
like me, during this time of year, because of all the stuff they feel like they should be doing. And if you have a Medicare supplement, you do not have to worry. You do not have to renew it. It's a policy, so your benefits are locked in. The premium could go up, but that is not something we renew. We can review it if it's getting too expensive and we might want to look at something else. Absolutely, this is the time. But you only get one shot. So we got to kind of take it in stride. But yes, a lot of people will call with a supplement and say, hey, this is what I have. I really like it. Do I have to do anything? No. But your drug plan you have, we should look at that.
Right.
So that's where, it's just a lot that's going to happen. And I really wish I didn't read that article before, because with plans canceling, there is going to be a lot of calls. And I just want to make sure that everyone's doing the due diligence of, you have your options to go whatever you want now, because this was not your choice for the plan to cancel. So we have more options than typical years. So that's why we want to make the best educated decision, and we pick our plans. What? Affordability,
Right.
comfort with the plan, and our health.
Absolutely.
And those questions are answered differently between everyone, even husband and wife.
Right.
So that's why this is your time. I feel like a broken record, but it's this. We get one shot.
Right. And now is definitely the time to start looking at it. I do want to remind everybody, of course, if you're watching on Daily Dodge TV or listening on the radio, this is a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Heiar Insurance, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands. Again, you can give us a call here at the show, 920-885-4446, or call and text us at 920-887-9595. Maybe you've gotten some of that literature in the mail already, and you just want to know when you can swing by and share it with Matt. Feel free to give us a call, or you can call, of course, the office itself if you feel more comfortable doing so, 920-887-0580.
That was a great segue. Like,
you.
I don't want to work. I want to bang on my drum all day.
Mm-hmm.
You brought that into retirement, and it's like I was just pumped for the Packers.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I'm gonna touch on that right now a little bit.
Okay.
We're gonna shift gears a little. I recently had a great conversation with some fellow Packer fans, a few that work here in the office even, about the concept of what I call playing the justification game, where you make a decision that maybe wasn't the smartest decision, and now you find every reason to justify why it was the right decision, why you're secretly the smart one. And I think about Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that trade went through, everybody in Wisconsin and Packer, fandom, everybody went, this is huge. This is amazing. This is great. 4 years in the NFL, 4-time Pro Bowler, he's going to be a game changer for us.
26.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, there's 47 million reasons per year
Yeah.
that
right.
he's
but
here.
he, and it's like, we're paying this much, he better deliver. And we're all super excited. And suddenly the entire world was looking at Dallas and saying, how are you so stupid? How could you let this guy go? How could you do this? And that's when oh, well, his back's hurt. He's out. He's done. He's useless to us now. He's never going to be a performer again. We're getting the better end of the deal because we're getting rid of him, and you guys have to deal with the injury. You guys have to deal with the problems. And I couldn't help but say, they're playing the justification game. They realize that they probably didn't come out as ahead on the deal as they thought they did. Now they're justifying. I think about the same thing when it comes to what you do. People might make a decision on their own thinking, I don't need the help of Matt Heiar. I don't need this young guy who's never retired before and to tell me how to retire, to tell me how to pick my insurance benefits. I picked my insurance benefits through work, for years without having to go to somebody like Matt Heiar. And then when they now have to travel up past Green Bay to see a doctor because there's nobody local that, takes their insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's fine because I like making the trip up there anyways. I get to go past Lambeau and see it as I drive by.
Justification.
Justification. That's what they got to do. And oh well, you can't take these medications anymore because they're not covered. Well, that's fine. I've been trying to get off of them anyways because I don't want to be reliant on meds. Blah 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 blah. Playing that justification game when they could have just swallowed their pride, come in, ask for a little help from somebody who has the resources.
And experience. I mean, we call them do-it-yourselfers.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, what we do is, like, when I do sign you up for Medicare plans, like, say you take a supplement, I put it up on the big screen, the government website, for your drug plan. I'm like, hey, we type in your drugs, where you go to the pharmacy, whatever's the cheapest plan for you out of pocket for next year, that's the plan you go with. And I've had some great results, like where people are doing it themselves.
Right.
Because last year they stopped accepting agents for a lot of these drug plans. So I can't be your advocate. Like, if you call about a drug plan question, it's like you have to call the company.
Right.
Which is like calling Timbuktu.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like a proud dad moment kind of. they call, be like, yeah, it came up. I typed it in and it came up with this plan. And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely what we got too. And they're like, okay, that's good. And I'm like, well, we can help you enroll with that. And they're like, nope, we already did. I was like, perfect.
There you go.
And that's the thing. Like, if you want to be that person to do it yourselfer, that's totally fine. But you can at least, it's almost like going to a seminar or a class. Like, that's all we're doing. We're not forcing you. You can't have a favorite plan because they're 1-year contracts. And sometimes when that block of business is not making the insurance company money, they blow it up and say, well, you're paying 10, now it's $60 a month. And they're trying to remove that block of business essentially in the office terms of that. Well, but they'll gladly keep you on for $60 a month.
Oh, right, because then they make more money.
Yes, and they're hoping people don't look at their book of changes. So, and that's why, like I just had a lady in earlier this week, and she was in her 80s, I think. She never changed her drug plan. And I was like, do you have your drug plan card? And I looked it up. She's paying $100 a month for a drug plan.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I imagine that's not what she started paying.
And I was like, well, are you on really expensive medication? She's not on any. And I was like, what?
So why is she paying anything?
What? Well, you need a drug plan.
Right, but couldn't she have one of those that's like a zero cost one or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what she should be on. And it's like, so instantly I was like, yeah, I have to see you. Like, I have to see you this fall. This is going to be, you're going to save $1,200 a month or $1,200 a year. And, she was like, wow, because the problem is a lot of people, one of the options to pay for your drug plan is to have it taken out of your Social Security. That's fine. If that's what you prefer, set it and forget it. That's great. The only problem is at the end of the year, they say, hey, your Social Security is going to be this much now. We have a COLA, a cost of living adjustment.
Right.
So your Social Security goes up 2.5%, so you get, $50, $75 more, a month, but your drug plan goes up too. So roughly the same amount's going into your account and you're not even noticing it, or a little bit less. You'd be like, oh, maybe my drug plan or maybe Medicare went up. And it's like, we don't see that on paper.
Right.
So if we didn't look at the book of changes, because we're so accustomed to everything just going up, right? I used to buy bubble gum for a nickel.
Right.
That doesn't exist anymore.
What great days those were.
We had a $1 menu.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
No, it really wasn't that long ago. I ironically, obviously, I'm a big movie lover, love going to the theater. And I remember we would do movie nights at home. And to make it feel like going to the theater, you'd go to the grocery store or whatever. You'd buy a box of snow caps, or you'd buy some Thin Mints or something. And you used to buy a big old box of it for $1. Mm-hmm. I was in the store the other day, $3.50. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh yes.
Like a standard candy bar now, is well over $2.
Even the vending machines. My kids, they're like, I want to get a candy bar or something like that. I'm like, all right, here's $1, and they're like, oh, it's $2. I'm like, what?
Right, for a candy bar.
I know. It's
yeah.
Supply and demand, though.
Yeah. That's what it is. But so it's a reality that prices are going to change. Things are going to go up. Costs are going to change. And one thing I hear and have heard my entire life whenever dealing with people that are in that retirement realm, in that Medicare realm, who are talking about pricing, it's always, I have a fixed income. Because they've got Social Security, whatever disbursements from pensions or 401ks or whatever, they've got a very fixed income. And so any changes is something they're documenting and they're trying to figure out. I mean, I worked for a phone company for a while where I'd have people call me and say, hey, my bill went up this month 6 cents. I'm on a fixed income.
6 cents.
What's going on? And then I look at it and go, oh, because we had 31 days this month instead of 29. You paid an extra 6 cents in taxes. Mm-hmm. My goodness, it was like the end of the world for them for 6 cents. So it blows my mind that people would get these books of changes and not even think about it and just throw it aside and not realize that, well, now your drug costs have gone up.
Well, the classic one I get is I never got it, and it seems like a pretty common tone. And I'm not saying they didn't get it, because some people, if they live in, rural areas, the mail is hard or they have P.O. boxes. But it is... then we should be calling the back of our card.
Right.
Or calling us. And that's the main thing is you'll be surprised how many people call like the last week. Did I miss it? do I still have time? I'm like, yeah, you have time, you know, and
Barely, but
yeah, but it's that's fine. I don't care if it's the day before, as long as you call us.
Right.
But yeah, that story, that lady's, she's going to save a lot of money, and that's great, but we just can't be accustomed to, oh yeah, everything goes up, and it does. Yes, it does. Like Medicare is going to go up. We know that. It's just the way it is. But if we can save on other things, or we could potentially, you know, answer some health questions to lower our supplement cost, or if we decide to go from a supplement to an advantage plan, which are $0 a month, we want to educate you on the differences, the pros and cons, and if this is a big decision, you know, because they're different. Don't let anyone on the phone tell you they're the same, because they're not.
Right.
But they're going to portray that, and that's where a lot of people don't even realize they sign up for an advantage plan, and all of a sudden they have a supplement. You can't have both.
Right.
So it's one or the other, and it gets a little hairy and a lot of phone calls, and it's just hard to get a hold of that person that you talk to for a half hour. It's just that's where we run into a lot of problems, and we just got to be vigilant. This is our time. Give us a call, 920-887-0580.
And we've talked before that when it comes to these one-year contract plans, it's kind of the last one signed up for is the one you've got. So you could have come in, seen you right at the beginning, got signed up for what you think is the right one, and then you get a phone call from somebody who claims to be there with your plan, double checking, making sure everything's correct, whatever. You say, yep, here's my Medicaid number. They go, thanks, it's a zero-cost plan, and you don't even think about it. Next thing you know, you get a letter in the mail.
Yes. Yep. You could sign up for 13 different plans throughout October 15th and December 7th, but that last application, that is your plan starting January 1st.
So you better hope it's the right one, or maybe you better go see somebody local and get that information and that lockdown. And we've touched on this at the very beginning of the conversation today, but all of this really begins with that initial consultation, that initial conversation with you. And like you've said, you know, when people come in and they sit down with you, you're not necessarily going to accomplish anything. Your goal is not to necessarily accomplish anything other than educating. Because there's a possibility, I don't know why, but there's a possibility where somebody could come in, sit down with you, get up afterwards, walk out and be like, I don't like that guy. I don't want to work with him.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you know, maybe you're having a bad day, try it again. But you know, there's also the possibility you're going to walk out of there, and I think it's a much more likely possibility you're going to walk out of there going, okay, I know a lot more now than I did. I feel a little more educated, a little more confident, and I'm ready to sit down and start making some decisions, ready to start having some conversations. You know, I talk to plenty of people where when they think about things like Medicare, the first thought is, well, what's it costing me every month? Oh my goodness, I'm on these meds. You start remembering meds you forgot you were on. You know, you start remembering, oh yeah, I go in every year to get this checked because I had a health scare a while back. Or, oh, that's right, I got to go in and, you know, because grandpa so-and-so had prostate cancer, I got to go get checked every couple of years. I got that coming up this year. You know, and all these costs and things start running through your head, and it can be overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, like when we say affordability, comfort with the plan and our health, it's affordability is number one.
Right.
All right. Like, I don't want you eating TV dinners to have health insurance. We want to make sure it's right for you first and foremost, affordability. Then obviously, let's make sure you can go to your doctors. You know, so the style of plan of what you pick is there's no right or wrong answer. It's we have to do what's best for you. You know, and that's why we, with a lot of referral-based business, you know, people are coming in because this person referred it, which is great, warm, fuzzy feeling, but they might go with a different plan. Right. And that's not because, you know, oh, yeah, we just gave you this plan. It's like, no, this made the most sense, and that's why we do it. And that's honestly how I sleep at night,
right,
is knowing that you can come in, we're going to educate you, we're going to show you your options. By being an independent agent, we have to contract with all these companies. So there could be a hot plan that year. Is it worth switching? Maybe, maybe not. You know, sometimes people are like, I like what I have. That plan does have some pretty good perks, but let's see what happens next year.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
What are your contracts?
Yes.
Cool. We'll give it a year, see what it does.
And like you said, when you worked at the phone company, yeah, I have people that I'm like, yeah, I can really only save you about $20 for the whole year next year, you know, for your drug plan. I don't know if it's worth switching. And they're like, no, I want to switch.
Right.
Okay. You know, it's everyone's different. I've had people where I could save them a couple $100 and they're just like, no, I like what I have.
Right.
Okay, is that wrong, or is that's just their affordability, their comfort, and their health?
Right.
And
Some people don't like change.
no, and I'm actually one of them. But I don't. But like that's why it's controlled chaos, and when you call us, it's everyone calls, like, yep, I wanna sit down with Matt and talk about my drug plan. It's really tough because we don't know where we're at. Like, let's get an updated medication list. Let's run your medications, and then let's even see if it's even necessary. You might have to do nothing, and they're like, well, I still want to talk to you. Those appointments are scheduled early January, right? Because you do not need to change. Your drug plan's good to go. Your medications are the same. We could still review early next year just to talk about it, but it's just such chaos. We're scheduling appointments 15 minutes every 15 minutes. It's really tough. And then also people are still retiring and people are still turning on Medicare.
Oh, yeah, because that doesn't stop just because we're in an election period.
Nope. Our 1960 babies are still born in 1960, and then we're already starting to deal with the 1961 babies starting next month. So it's a lot, but we try to see everyone. But it is very difficult. And some people are like, well, I don't want to wait till January. Then it's like, hey, can I just give you a call and we can talk about it for a little bit here?
Right.
And usually people are great about that. You know, they understand the chaos. But it's probably like, I don't know for sure, but like calling an accountant during tax season.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like early April. Can I set an appointment with you?
Right. Can you quickly pull my file and tell me the number of files on their desk at that
I'd
time?
like to change my address. Yeah, that's where. But I don't know. They probably have way crazier seasons than us because theirs starts in January.
Yeah, I'll say it's a little bit longer of a season for them.
And they file extensions and tax laws. Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah. You touched on something that I'm going to kind of jump back on here because it's something that I didn't know. I guess I didn't have it concrete in my head as knowing this was a fact until I started doing this show and talking with you. And I feel like there's probably people out there who are hitting that time frame where it's I can start signing up for Social Security. Oh, I can start looking at retirement now. I'm reaching that time frame. I am going to be retiring, and I need to look into Medicare. When I was working, I had one plan, and when it was me, it covered me. When it was me and my wife, it covered both of us. Mm-hmm. When it was me, my wife, and our X number of kids, it covered everybody.
Yep.
And it was one plan. The coverage was simple. It was across the board. We knew what it was. Well, now here comes retirement. Here comes Medicare. And wait, I have a plan for me. I have to have a plan for my wife. Like, it's not the same.
No.
They could be two completely different things.
Yes, you're separate entities when it comes to Medicare.
And so when you're looking at, we'll talk about the drug plans, maybe wife doesn't take anything, doesn't need anything. She's good. She could be on a completely different plan with zero costs. You take a lot more, you got more health problems, whatever. Well, now you've got a plan that costs you $30 a month, and that's just what it is. The drugs you take could be completely different. The plans you have could be completely different. For some people, that's a whole new concept.
It really is. And that's why, like, you going back to the do-it-yourselfers, you're like, I used to pick my plan. It's like, no, your company picked your plan.
Right.
They gave you two options.
Right.
Same company.
Just because you had less choices doesn't mean you were making the choice.
It was high deductible plan, right? Which is cheaper out of your check, or the lower copay plan, which was a little bit more expensive out of your check, lower deductibles. And a lot of people come in, they're like, oh yeah, I've been taking that high deductible and I met that deductible, and it's like, but you have to look at the big picture. It's like, okay, for all those years you took it and paid less out of your check, you probably still won.
Right.
And obviously if you're meeting your max out of pocket or deductible, who really cares about money? Because obviously something pretty major happened.
Right.
So that's why we have to, everyone focuses on like right now, or they're like, yeah, I doctor a lot. I'm like, oh, for what? Well, they're like, I have to see my cardiologist once a year and I have to see my primary once a year. It's like, okay.
So twice?
Yeah. I was like, that's not really doctoring much. And they're like, well, no, I had a stent put in, like 10 years ago. It's like, well, yeah, that's all managed care. Like obviously there was a problem, they fixed it and stuff, and they're just monitoring it.
Right.
And it was probably managed with medication. So that doesn't mean we're doctoring a lot, but it's great that you tell me that kind of stuff because that could affect the plan. It's like, hey, if I don't know if that happens again, we might not be able to get into a supplement. So like that's great, and being transparent about it helps us advise you in the best ways we can.
And that transparency can be scary for some folks because if you have some sort of medical issues or if you have medications you're taking that maybe you don't want everybody to know, I'm going to throw out for all those older gentlemen out there, maybe you're on a particular pill, that you're like, I don't want everybody to know about this, but I know it's covered under some plans, not covered under others, whatever the case may be. I don't want to necessarily bring it up to some young guy sitting across the desk from me and be like, does my plan cover this? But if you don't know and you don't ask, you might not know at all.
Yeah, and legally, I can't talk about that.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
It is what it is. It's like we're all on medications, and some people do that with retirement. They're like, I don't really want to tell you. There's no perfect person, family, human being. We're all from Dodge County, right?
Right.
And I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is. So there is no judgments cast by anyone. But yeah, we have to know.
You can only make recommendations based on the information you have at hand.
Yeah. So if you have $20,000 in credit card debt, you're like, yeah, it's really gotten up because things are expensive. It's like, let's attack at that. Let's go after that. Let's get a game plan. But if you don't tell us, just by paying the minimum payment, you know how much that's going to cost you in the long run. So
a lot more.
It's a lot of that where it's like, no, like absolutely, we're on the same team. You came to me, so it's like you trust me, and I want to trust you, and that's how we work as a team, by telling each other everything and having concerns, and that's why you go to someone local to talk to someone and talk to that same person.
Right.
Not a 1-800 number.
There you go. And you trust that local person is going to be there and have your back. And that's exactly what you guys do over there at Heiar.
And not retiring anytime soon.
Yeah, no.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like via proxy, you kind of retire a couple times, a day or a week or a month, because you get to help those people make those final retirement steps and slip into retirement. And, sure, it's not you getting the fishing boat and hitting the water. It's not you in the links, every day, driving that down the fairway. It's somebody else, but you got to help them be there.
I get to live it through with them. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Unfortunately, that's all the time we got for today.
Okay.
We'll be, of course, meeting up next Friday, talking again.
Talk about the Packers victory.
Yep. Oh, it's bound to happen. Your prediction? Are we going to see Parsons on the field?
Absolutely.
Do you think he's gonna make an impact week 1?
I don't want to make that prediction, but I think even if he's just like out there, just as a default, like that would be great, because it's just gonna raise everyone's levels up.
I know we talked yesterday a little bit about here at the office about how he was out, pushing the sled and showing off his athleticism during training, and I felt like he missed a great opportunity to really kind of troll everybody. He should have been wheeled out in a wheelchair on the side of the field, then got up and started showing off how athletic he is.
Yeah, his back didn't look too bad there.
Yeah, no, he looked like he was doing just fine. So I'm looking forward to us celebrating that victory next Friday as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So the only thing left to do is let everybody know.
When do you want to retire?
Call Heiar. This has been a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Heiar Insurance, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.